Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm news host Joe Scott. I'm joined by Tony Tones at RT. How are you, Tony?
So are you sure that's who you are? I think we're.
Oh, sorry, Commander Riker here. I wanted to. So I was like, which Star Trek character do I want to be? And I was like, Captain Picard. And then I was like, I have a beard and I'm not going to shave my head, so maybe I should. I should pick one that has a beard. I was like, I know who has a beard. Commander Riker. So I got a TNG outfit. And it actually comes with pins that you can customize. So I've got 3 pins for the rank of command in TNG. Because they use the same uniform for TNG, Voyager, and DS9. They're all...
Yes.
Very... I mean, there's some... There's a badass leather outfit you can get from the TNG films. So it's like grey and black, and then it has like leather shoulder pads. And I looked online. Someone made it on Etsy, and it was like hundreds of quid. And I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah,
Star Trek stuff is so expensive. It's crazy.
If it's one-off made, yeah, for sure.
But I was like, you know what?
Hopefully, it will last.
I said because of the timing, it's slightly off, but because it's Guy Fawkes right now in the UK. This is the Halloween podcast. So for the Halloween podcast, I have come as Commander Riker.
So you're not dressed in your pajamas then?
No, as they would say in Star Trek.
A famous joke from all the time travel or going to a prehistoric world.
I wanted to get like an animated background for the thing, but I can only find Stamik images. I found this really cool one someone made. It was like an animated TOS one.
Because like there's a weird one with like the one you're on at the moment, or the TNG one is like you're right at the front, like in front of the view screen, in front of the chairs, right? You're not positioned correctly. Yeah.
I found out a website called Zoom Backgrounds exists, so I'll be looking on there more for random backgrounds to surprise people with. I did find it really funny though, because they have this little leaflet in the thing where they go, "Oh, this is," because it comes with black pins as well. Because there's like, because there's these like silvery gold pins, and then there's these, the black pins as well. Because I think a couple of ranks have those.
Lieutenant Commander's I think Lieutenant is 2, Lieutenant Commander's like 2.5, or like 2 in a black pin.
Yeah.
And it's like silvery and gold, right?
And then what I found really funny was they had, if you want to be Chief O'Brien, you need this amount of pins. And I was like, nobody knows how many pins Chief O'Brien needs. Like, if you don't know, Chief O'Brien has an entire Wikipedia page based on his rank being so inconsistent between shots that nobody really knows what rank he is.
He's just that good.
I like how in DS9 he's like, Nog, as soon as you graduate the academy, you're going to outrank me. Like, that's like a running joke throughout DS9.
Well, there's a weird thing between like this is like the real military as well, as my understanding is that there's a
because he signed on for the
bridge officers. Yeah,
he signed on for the Cardassian Wars, and then he sort of got like, what's the word? Just naturally put into Starfleet, I guess.
Promoted and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a weird difference because Chief O'Brien never went to the academy, so like he's not an officer.
Despite teaching at the academy, he's an academy teacher. Isn't he?
Well, he's going to be. He should be a teacher in engineering, so I think that's allowed. He's just not an officer.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like I think that is like there's a similar thing in like real. I don't think it's quite like that. I think there's like a similar idea in real military stuff. It's like, are you an officer or not?
Because one thing that really confuses me
wouldn't be outranked though
is engineers are almost always some of the lowest ranked people on a starship. I've finished watching all 3 seasons of TOS. Scotty is really weirdly highly ranked. I think he's actually above Dr. McCoy when it comes to it goes like Spock.
I think,
and then
if
Scotty potentially.
I think and this is like I'm not a very like I don't know much about like because obviously like Starfleet is a military enterprise, like a peaceful military enterprise, but like still like military like sort of hierarchy, right? So I'm not too familiar with that, but in my head like it would be like Captain, Commander, obviously. Then it'd be like science, then engineering, and then Doctor. Is like the order.
Doctor was Beverly Crusher and TNG had command, and even Counselor Troy took the command test at some point as well, so she could take command.
Yeah,
but I always remember they had to like bump off 50 characters to allow Geordi to take command for one episode because he was so like low ranked in the grand scheme.
But to me, it's so like the engineering is like, especially in space, is like so critical to the lives of everyone on board, right? Like surely you would need that he keeps the ship running. So that's very important, more than a doctor in my head.
Well, hello, welcome to the podcast, Halloween edition, aka impromptu Star Trek. Tony, we still haven't done our Tangerine on Star Trek Picard season 3, so maybe I'll read you into that because we have I've finished my Halloween games. So I've been playing stuff like I just finished playing The Evil Within. That was the last one I played. Because speaking of games I've been playing, let's talk about some of those. Oh, by the way, Tony, I forgot to do the introduction again. Talk about our most hyped. For me, I was like, Jack 2 being reverse engineered by Open Goal is legit super interesting. I installed the native PC port of Jack 1 on my Steam Deck, and apparently it's way easier now. They have like a native launcher you can use to compile it and receive updates for it because it's in beta, so that's really cool. I also wrote down BlizzCon was boring. That was my main takeaway.
My picks was I've gone 7 more FPS in Sea of Skylines 2 patch.
But yeah, I've been playing Halloween games. I have been playing the Finals Open Beta, which is really fun, and I've also been playing Super Mario Wonder as my first sort of non-Halloween game. So, any of those you want to talk about?
I think we have to talk about Mario, surely.
Let's see if I can pull up my. I could probably pull up some footage of Mario.
This is Elephant Mario for those who are not keeping track of
Mario. The classic.
Well, you've now played as Mario with a trunk. How did it feel?
Awesome. Really cool.
Okay. There he is.
I'm a big fan of Super Mario Wonder. I think based on what I've played so far this year, Super Mario Wonder is looking like my front runner for Game of the Year so far.
Really?
I think I've played at least 4 Mario games this year. At potentially 5, depending on if you count Bowser's Fury being its own game. And and yeah, I fucking love this game. I think it's phenomenal. It's just, when I picked up the controller, because normally when I play platformers now, I'm just immediately using the analog stick to move around. But something about playing Mario in my brain, I instinctively just started using the D-pad again. And that's something I haven't done in years since I played the original Super Mario Bros. On the Game Boy when I was a kid. I played so much Mario with the D-pad, and this just completely took me back to 2D Mario games. I fucking love this. It's so much better than the weird like 3D Mario games that we've had. And you know, Tony, I did say, hey, I was playing Super Mario 3D World. It was in this weird spot between 2D and 3D, and I was like, you've got to pick one. You can have a really good 3D game like Odyssey, or you could just go and make a good 2D game. And then Tony, I also said, why is there a fucking timer when you want me to go and explore? It feels so awful to explore when there's a timer. There's no fucking timer in Wonder. It feels so good. I'm literally always running around levels just exploring. So if you're on the fence about Super Mario Wonder, it is phenomenal. Highly recommend it. If you love Mario, if you love platformers, check it out. It's super good. And we'll have a full Tangerine on that later.
Is it? What do you call like a return to form? Like I feel like they've done other.
Well, I mean, the last Mario game they released was technically Bowser's Fury. Unless I think because it was Bowser's Fury, and then before that it was Odyssey. So, like, there's only ever like a new mainline Mario game every like 5 years or so. Like it's crazy, and I think they really pulled it, and it's insane how well this game runs on Switch as well. Holy shit! It runs at 720 handheld, 60 just straight, and then 1080p 60 docked. It runs so well.
Impressive.
Tony, there's so much news to talk about on this week's podcast. I can't. Rambling. There's not.
I'm being distracted by the hippos at the moment.
Oh yeah, everyone loves it. Elephant Mario is good. I like it.
Okay.
Right. Let's move on to. I did
more
just
Riker.
briefly want to. Oh yeah, more Riker. I did briefly want to mention the finals quickly though because it's been getting in some trouble recently because they've been. So one thing when I boot up the funnels was I was like, this voiceover thing sounds like American launchers, and then people were like, yeah, it's AI text to speech. Like all the announcers in the game are just AI, and I've got to say, it didn't bother me at all. I thought this was probably one of the perfect use cases for something like AI.
I would still. I think I would have in the end. I would still like proper voice actors to do it. To me, it's like a little bit stilted, but like it was fine.
It's like
from what I heard.
It's a competitive multiplayer game. There's no story. Yeah. You literally just need a voice to go, "Hey, this team took this point." That's about it. And they just went
interesting ways.
And it just sounds like the announcers they got like this AI text to speech of an American football commentator and. I'm going to call her Clara from Nonstop Pop because she sounds like Clara from Nonstop Pop from GTA 5 Radio. That's who she reminds me of.
Right. I don't know that reference, but...
all the GTA 5 radio listeners are going crazy right now. Oh, can I say, because this has kind of been a topic recently, I think Donkey just made a video about how it's been 10 years since GTA 5 came out. Like, it's nuts that we still don't have a GTA 6. I'm so hyped for GTA 6. I want to play that game. GTA 5 is one of my favorite games of all time. It is fantastic. And I really want to check out a brand new GTA game. So, yeah.
Oh, hang on. So it's a new month, isn't it? I can resubscribe.
Oh, resubscribe.
Yeah, I'll share it. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to share it?
11 months.
Okay, Tones at RT just resubscribed. You'll love to see it. Tony, when you hit the 1 year sub, what are you going to do? Have you got any plans?
Buy a Subway, I think.
Buy a Subway to celebrate the sub. And that you'll love to see. I've been using Stream Elements again. Like I had Stream Elements before. There's a native Twitch thing you can do. I was thinking about maybe switching over to that.
Okay.
So it would just give me notifications on Twitch. I wouldn't have to go to an external website because I always forget to go to an external website to look up notifications. So maybe I'll set that up. But yeah, thank you. And
free money.
So basically, they got on a little bit of hot water, and basically they were just saying, well, it allowed us to produce lines in just a matter of hours rather than months. It's an open beta. It had a closed beta. I remember seeing videos of people from NoClip playing it. If you don't know what the finals is, we'll probably do a Tangerine on it. But it's essentially ex-DICE employees were like... Battlefield 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. And what I love about the Battlefield games is the amount of destruction in the environments in a multiplayer lobby is so insanely fun when you just blow up a building that a bunch of people are in and then suddenly it just completely changes the entire map. And it's like, well, what if we took that idea, but we made all of the building destruction server-side, so every little tiny building that gets destroyed is done in real time for every single player, and it just turns into this crazy mess. And it's so fun to just blow up a floor, and then suddenly you're like jumping down and stealing a vault, and it's like, well, you can have a vault where you're trying to cash out this money, but you could just blow out the floor and just steal physically move the vault and steal it. It's a really, really fun to play. But apparently, Embark has responded to the Finals AI criticism, saying that making games without actors isn't an end goal. So they basically said, yeah, we used AI to fill in the gaps, but we're not...
For development.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I think it's I think it's in beta, or it's they're developing it. I think it's perfectly fine to use these tools. I think voice actors can add a lot more than what AI can do. If you give them the reins to do that, and I think it'd be a lot better. But I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Cool. But yeah, let's move on to trailers. We got the Dusk HD trailer. They announced it was coming on Halloween, and I believe it's coming out in December is the actual release date. But they've done the full comparison between the original Dusk models and the HD ones, and they look really good. I think they've done a really good job with HDifying this Quake shooter. So I'm going to be excited to try it. I said I was going to wait to try out the game until the HD pack came out, because I was excited for that, see how it changed the experience. And yeah, I think this looks really, really good.
I can't count the polygons in the HD version.
Oh, they've enhanced them. Enhance.
There's too many polygons for what I'm looking for.
I like the rat one. It's just slightly less shit, the rat one. But I think I can still count the polygons. I think it started out that they were going to be like, oh, let's slightly enhance the models. And they're like, it seems like they kind of went overboard. It's like, okay, let's HDify a lot of the environments as well. So it seems like they've gone back and they have super HD'd a lot of the, the maps as well. So interested to try this one out. I'm a big fan of boomer shooters and Quake, so excited to try this one out. But it looks really, really good. And I think Dave Oshry, the CEO of New Blood, he always buys random domain name IPs to advertise the products, and the one he's got here is www.notfortnite.com.
Okay, sure.
Accurate. I think the one for what's it called? Not what's the name of that game? New Blood Games. Ultra Kill was Devil May Quake, is what they were calling it.
Yeah.
You have a point system while going around, moving very fast with Quake movement.
And you get the names and the rating, right?
Next up, there's a Vampire Updates Vampire Survivor update coming called Adventure Mode, and they've remixed a bunch of levels. And it's also going to let you basically soft start again, basically without full hard resetting, which I think is pretty cool. Because I think with the amount of stuff they've been adding, apparently it's going to have a story mode as well. I believe they said lore lol or story lol. They were yeah, it's kind of funny,
And it's deep lore.
It's a scrambled miniature story mode or wacky side quests, which resets the player's arsenal and progress from scratch without overwriting progress in the main game, and challenge players with unique conditions, progression, and win criteria. They're somewhat akin to starting a seasonal character in an ARPG. And they will also be playable in co-op as well, because it has the local co-op mode.
Yeah. It's always good to see that it keeps supporting.
It will be split up into chapters that offer specific setup of items and characters and win conditions linked by some lore text. They'll be free to any Vampire Survivor player, although some are linked to paid DLC add-ons. Oh, I picked up the DLC for Vampire Survivors. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of quid, and it didn't go on sale, but I was like, it's super cheap. I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've played a little bit of the Vampire Survivors DLC, and it's pretty good. So enjoying that. But yeah, let's move on to releases. So first up we have Lethal Company. This one kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was watching some streamers on Twitch play this, and I was like, man, this looks really fun. So the idea of this is sort of like a co-op horror game where you have to run around scavenging supplies, but I think there's some sort of like procedural generation where you fly to planets and you have to try and grab resources. But if you don't meet your quota, then you basically fail. But on these planets is just like these fucking horrific monsters that are trying to kill you. And you have to like also try and buy like flashlights and walkie-talkies and stuff in order to try and survive and gather more stuff. It's like a very like scrappy survival horror game in like this really cool indie package.
Like discovering from creatures.
Yeah, I think exploration is really cool because there was so much shit where I was like, I wonder what, is going to happen here. And then suddenly I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, there's this thing where you hand a bunch of items into a shop and you ring a bell and then like a tentacle comes out and grabs it.
Okay.
But he was like, oh yeah, don't stand too close to it. And he was like, why? And he just started ringing the bell and the tentacle grabbed him and killed him. And he's like, oh shit, what's going on? Like, that's cool. Looks, it's a really cool, like early access, like survival horror co-op game. And I think it would be really fun to load this up and play it with some friends. And it came out a good time of year as well because it was a week before Halloween. And it's quite cheap. It's £8.50 on Steam. So it's not like a super high entry level to get in.
So is it early access? So like
there's going to be more content, yeah. But it seems from what I've seen on Twitch, like I haven't played it. From what I've seen on Twitch, it seems like there's a fair deal amount of content so far. Okay. Even if
so it's already worth picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my thing is not like don't not buy stuff on early access. It's just like, is it worth buying at this moment? Don't buy something for a promise.
Yeah, I think it got quite big on Twitch because there was a lot of big streamers like Soda Poppin and people like that playing it. So, yeah, that looks really cool. Next up, start the hour timer turning. City Skylines 2 has come out, and it has some mixed. It has some mixed reviews. Tony, do you want to tell me?
Almost all of them are performance based.
It's a historic time, Tony, because you are playing a current release in current year.
I know. I've actually played the game. I've put like 5 hours into this game, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me bring it up.
But yeah,
I've actually been playing this. 7 hours. Sorry. Performance not great. Okay. I will say. You have to play 1080p, first of all. It has to be 1080p.
I feel like that's unacceptable in
1080. Yeah, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. But it is technically playable, is my point.
Does it have? I was
trying to say last time.
Does it have DLSS at least?
No. It has FSR 1.0.
1.0.
It's terrible. It's 1.1 or something. It's terrible. It's off by default. I think it's off by default. I have it off anyway. Yeah, so it turns out that the last patch, as I alluded to at the beginning, was like I actually gained 7 to 10 FPS from like my current settings. I think a lot of that was from the fact that their LODs were like completely busted before. So like now it's like it's actually correctly calling the correct quality, and it's actually like culling, and it's actually going to the correct level at the right distances now. So I don't know. Oh, I don't know if you saw it. There's like an article saying. There was apparently a conspiracy for like, the reason why City Skylines 2 is getting bad performance because every NPC or every character has teeth, and it's like the teeth has nothing to do with it. That's only if you get super close to an NPC could you see a tooth.
I heard. So what I heard was they had fully rendered these teeth, and that there was no level of detail scaling, so they were constantly rendering the teeth.
Yeah, that turned out not to be true. I can tell you now, from looking at the models, that the people definitely get lesser quality. That's always been the case. It wasn't the teeth, it was other assets that were being like very dodgy. I think that's technically fixed now, but it's still... There's definitely like still weird bugs and stuff. Like Gamers Nexus went through like some of the weird bugs of like the the
settings. So you've seen the game as Nexus.
Yeah.
What did he say about it? Because I haven't seen it.
So one of the things that he pointed out, the LODs were like completely broken. Like for him, or for their team, I suppose. Like lowest quality was like rendering higher LODs. It's like or higher textures for like certain assets, and there's like other stuff was just like flickering in and out, depending on what settings you want. And some settings just seem to do absolutely nothing. And then he's also saying like the presets, like there needs to be. So obviously there's low, medium, high at the moment. He says like there should be like the difference between low and medium is like so big that there needs to be like something in between. And they said that a lot of the settings, once you go past medium, there's like no graphical or no visual difference like to a user. So it's like it seems like a bit things are happening that like don't need to be rendered or like don't need to be calculated, and it's like kind of like wasting performance. So
just quite unoptimized at the top end.
Yeah. I
heard. Okay.
I think everyone's been saying is like, why was this released? Like, if they should have pushed back the release, it was like in this state.
I did hear. I think it was on the Hardware Unbox podcast. I think it was Steve loaded it up very quickly to test it out, and he said there was something weird going on with depth of field where if you had your depth of field higher, it was super heavy for some reason.
Yeah, even on low, maybe it was just like they broke it in the update or something. But like I did actually recently test it last time. Even on low, it was broken for me. Whereas like you'd be like a few feet, like pretend the city is like a model city, like in a building, right? Like you're like a human size, and you're the camera. If you're a few feet away from the building, like it was still like blurring it as if like, you're far away. So like for me, it's like it's still broken. That's actually one of the settings they tell you to turn off. Along with fog. Like fog is needlessly performant hitting and looks terrible. So just turn. And I'm pretty sure in all these trailers there's no fog. So turn fog and depth of field off, basically. And volumetric. I don't know if volumetric. Okay, one of in the beta stuff, like when people were getting early access to it, the volumetric stuff was completely broken. I think it's technically improved, but still like not worth it. So turn off volumetric everything. It's just the same for like I think it's volumetric clouds. I think it's called, but just turn that off. Yeah, it's disappointing. I think it's a good game. I think there's like people talking about like there's like weird simulation issues.
Are you upset that it's still very road based? A lot of the cities.
Yes and no. You can now place things without a road, but like you still need a road. One thing I might need to do my own tangerine on this actually.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, like parks, for me, like where we grew up or where I grew up, and like in the UK, like a lot of parks are like not on the road. It's like off a path, right?
Yeah.
I tried to do that, and it's like, oh, there's no road connection, there's no electricity here, and it's like, why can't I just build a park, like put a park next to a path, and then, because like in the game, like depending on how like the distance away from an asset is like its influence basically. I don't know why we can't just calculate pedestrian paths as if it's a road in terms of distance, because that would just make sense to me. So that's kind of disappointing. So I have to place it on a road, which just seems weird. And the roads are very big. Assets are very big, and certain roads are like bigger than I want. And there's like not enough road detail, but I would actually say it's less road focused than the first game. You can do a lot more. Like, it's missing some of the DLCs that made the first game.
Yeah, so that is one thing I wanted to ask. How does base City Skylines 2 compare to City Skylines 1 with DLC?
So originally, this is like things like Crusaders, Paradox. Paradox is pretty good. I don't know what you call it, like an example here, because they've done bad ones and good ones. I think Crusader Kings 3 is good because they have like a completely different mechanic from Crusader Kings 2. It's like, why would I buy the next game? So to me, City Skylines 2 has mechanics that are completely different to City Skylines 1, which makes it compelling. Because before I was like, there's no point. City Skylines, if it's just going to be like a graphics overhaul, there's no point. But the fact that the production, the level of production, the way you unlock stuff is like completely different. And I think the way that certain mechanics and the way that the simulation of the people are done, like the way they have money, it's like completely different. I think it is a substantial difference. What's annoying is there's like lots of small things that could make it great that it could be changed. That does require asset changes, so it's not actually that small now. That like that could have been like made it like it could have stood alone. I think at the moment, because of performance issues and like lots of small misses in lots of the mechanics or lots of the building stuff, I think City Skylines 1 is probably the best bet, especially if you've got an older GPU. But hopefully, I don't think it. I generally don't think it requires much before it will be modded DLC City Skylines 1. Like I genuinely believe that. Like I think the core bones there like is like a much better base than City Skylines 1, like by mobile, and also like I think the realistic graphics. I think the first game's style's a bit weird. I think the second it just works way better for me.
It just works.
So I think if they can fix performance, like I would just recommend it. I was to say there has been people talking about like the production simulation being a lie. I don't think that's true. I think it's just bugs.
How does it compare to City Skylines 1 with mods? Because that is probably... Have they taken stuff from mods and trying to integrate them into the second game?
Yeah. So roads are way better placed. Like it's like road placement, building placement, rotation stuff like mods. There are two massive caveats to that, however. There is currently no prop placement. So like props like individual, like a street lamp or like a street bin or a bench or something. Like you can't place that at the moment. Whereas in Space City Skylines 1, and maybe not on release, but now you could do that and mods of the added assets. And the other bad thing with City Skylines 2 is the asset variation of buildings is very limited. And I think they need to massively increase the number of because what they have done is they've got like say a row house of like of a certain size, right? Yeah. What they have done is like they've got one model for that, as far as I can tell, in the European style. They've got one model for that, and they then change the color. In fairness, the changing of color makes a big difference, but I want at least 2 more assets for every single
Is it like a Townscaper, where they just you drag it along and then there's just slightly different colors? Well, no, because
those are technically different. Like there's different assets, like the way it like connects and things, right? Like I want Townscaper has way more, but yeah, like it has a Townscaper S thing where you can change the color and like it has different things, and that does make a big difference. But they need way more assets. And that's like a big limitation, in my opinion, that no one. I don't really see. I see YouTube comments talk about, but not content creators.
Do we know when mods are coming?
I don't know. One update. There wasn't a map creator on launch. That's now been added. At least
they have an API.
Maybe it's an early access. I don't know yet whether modding stuff's coming. Okay. I think it's
like an SDK or something.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing Workshop this time. They're doing their own Paradox mod launcher, which feels like they just want people to use the Paradox launcher so they can advertise more stuff. Which fair enough.
Yeah, but potentially, but they might generally have stuff they want to add. But again, we don't. Like I said last time, we don't know what it is and what they're going to add, so I can't compare and see if it is just a advertising ploy. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, if you want to do a Tangerine City Skylines, we can, or you can do it. Give us an update or whatever. So
I think it's just not too much detail to be in something else. I think I have to make a dedicated Tangerine, but I think we'll leave it at that for now. In the podcast.
Let's see what people are saying on Steam. Okay, one thing I will mention: Counter-Strike 2 just came out. There is one CS2. That's not City Skylines 2. Stop calling it CS2.
People are leaving. I've got a controversial opinion. Don't call either of them CS2. Just call it the fucking name.
Let's see. We've got complaints about the performance, but then the economy is broken. Goods in your city aren't actually traded. Import, export don't actually do anything. So trucks deliver goods to your stores and train stations.
So I want to be. I think they need to be more specific with that. So there's a problem between like goods in and out warehouses like attached to buildings that you place compared to like the actual other buildings. I'm pretty sure the internals of your city are actually trading goods correctly. I think there are a lot of bugs in terms of like
there is
not
no
using stuff
cargo
correctly.
traffic in your city.
Yeah, it's not working. That's not working at all. So like
Progression
you can't.
system is broken.
Which progression system?
It says just place a
Well, the
tourist
main
trap
one.
and bulldoze it. Repeat it over and over again.
Oh!
Level 20 without doing anything. Progression is not linked to population, just XP gained for placing stuff.
So that's new in Cities Skylines 2. So in Cities Skylines 1, it was just population milestones. In Cities Skylines 2, you placing stuff, and there's a depending on what population you have, there's like a continuous count in the background every month, I think.
So they're saying,
but then it's like placing buildings will also do it. You can cheat the system.
Saying here, people don't really go to work, kids don't go to school, people don't shop. Like individual sims don't really seem to have a set structure that they go to.
Yeah, so that's another bug which I think is now fixed. So they were going, okay. People, instead of going to shops, were going to parks instead of spending their money in shops. Kids did go to school, but they went to the wrong school. And they didn't go to higher education, I think. Or they didn't go to lower education, they only went to like high school. There's
a lot of bullet points here, but it seems like fundamentally there is at least some unperformance related bugs stuff people don't like about this.
There are simulation bugs. I think people saying that there's like it's like a fake system, I think are incorrect. I think they're just bugs. But I guess we'll see. But they are slowly fixing the bugs. Again, like it comes down to like why did they release it? Like if they knew these bugs existed, why not push it back a month?
post COVID era releasing games now these days has been like companies just can't afford not to release games. Is the sad state we live in.
I suppose, but I think Paradox and Colossal Order have the money to do it. Like I think they have no excuse.
I don't know about that, buddy, because I don't know if you've seen what's been going on with the Bloodline stuff.
And the Bloodline stuff, but that doesn't. That as far as I'm aware, they still have money going round, and then as far as I'm aware, they're still selling stuff for Cities Skylines 1.
But
I don't.
You're seeing like people like Epic cutting all of their like workforce massively. That makes me think. Surely Paradox is in trouble as well.
Epic is suing Apple and Google. I think they're like the extreme.
But there's like we've seen like a lot of smaller studios as well. Like Media Molecules apparently cutting like 15% of their workforce.
Isn't that Epic related?
Dang shut down.
Yeah. But I do think Paradox is fundamentally in a different position, and I think there's a difference between firing people and then just like working longer to have a better. Like, surely you want you'd get more sales if it would launch in a proper way. You only get one launch.
Well, Tony, let's talk about some more great releases. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection came out.
Oh dear.
This October 24th, and it is disappointing to say the least, I would say. I mean, let's just go over some of the basic things. 720p, native 720p across all platforms. Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC. Why the hell is it capped 720p on PC? I have no fucking idea. And I believe it's also bilinearly scaled from 240p, at least Metal Gear Solid 1 is, which is like just makes it the blurriest looking game in the world.
And like compared to the GOG version, like it's like just worse in every way, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the Digital Foundry video on this, and they were basically saying like the included stuff of like the behind the scenes like animated comics and stuff like that is really cool, but the actual games themselves are in like a really bad state. Like fundamentally, I think if you've never played a Metal Gear game, you probably could pick these up and have an okay experience.
I think I'd recommend the GOG version.
I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, why the hell wouldn't I use DuckStation to get a much... You can get 4K native Metal Gear Solid from DuckStation. I mean, and it looks way better with their like their wobbling mitigations with like the vertex, like the jittering stuff from like PS1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's also it's one of they're capped to like I think it's the Metal Gear Solid 1 is capped to 20 or 30 FPS for some reason.
Yeah. Even though like he doesn't need to.
So they were like, well, if you're not gonna if you're not gonna increase the resolution, at least give us like some like CRT shaders so it doesn't look so goddamn blurry and awful. And apparently Konami have said that they want to do an update to add to be addressed post-port. So is a post-launch patch is planned to add a number of visual options in the game, including a CRT scanline filter and the ability to change the pixel aspect ratio. Oh, it's 4:3 locked with borders. You cannot change it.
Don't get it. It says 720 square or.
So let's have a look. No display settings. Metal Gear Solid 1 internal version is 2040p in a 1080p viewport with bilinear filtering. Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 are locked to 720p internal resolution. If you play the games on windowed mode or high refresh monitors, the games run at speeds higher than 60 FPS, which makes them unplayable because everything moves at double speed. The game speed is tied to the frame rate.
Oh, God.
On Metal Gear Solid 2, the only way to leave the game is to die on purpose or get back to the main menu. Language packs have no store support, and they cannot be downloaded without using SteamDB. Oh, so here's an interesting thing. If you are selecting your language from the menu, if you select English UK, you will get the 50 Hz PAL version of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3.
Oh, no.
But if you select US English, you will be given the 60 FPS Hertz NTSC version.
Okay, going to the downloading it from the SteamDB thing. I thought you could download it through the game, but it was like technically downloading it as a DLC, which people didn't realize.
No, so the way they've done this is they've split up every single game into its own like individual app.
Yeah.
So there's the Metal Gear. They have like a bundle on Steam, and it's split up into Metal Gear Solid, which gives you the first game, and then there's Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which are the 2D games, and then you have the individual Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3. So you can buy them individually if you don't want all of them, but
it's a lot of money for all of them.
I feel like you could have just packaged this into one game because they did this with Halo the Master Chief Collection. You could buy the Master Chief Collection, which would give you all the games, or you could just buy them separately as DLC, which I thought made a lot more sense.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, given how old these games are,
it's a lot of money.
It makes sense to just bundle them all together.
Yeah.
I
just released for like £30 for everything and actually have it upscaled.
But like with the Metal Gear 1, it is nice that you get the package of you can play the Metal Gear Solid 1, like the US release, which is slightly different, and then there's the VR missions, which is part of the Japanese version, I think, and then there's a special European version which has slightly different missions as well. I've never played Metal Gear. So I don't know the exact specifics, but that's what I've heard, that it does actually include different regions, specific versions of the games, which is nice. But yeah, man, like Konami had an opportunity here to really turn their reputation around and be like, hey, we actually care about our most popular franchise, Metal Gear, and our other most popular franchise, which is coming out soon, Silent Hill, made by Blooper, and be like, hey, we're actually putting love back into these retro titles. And it's like, they just completely shut the bed with this collection. There's no other way to say it. They really fucked up. I think it's such a shame that in a lot of ways, they are not only worse than their previous releases, like the Blue Point HD the HD collection on the 360 and the PS3, the GOG PC ports, but even going as far as community efforts, the DuckStation versions, the PC modding community. I mean, there's already mods for this version of the game to basically remove the internal resolution caps and add stuff like 16 times anisotropic filtering, like, because there's no reason it shouldn't be in here. But we just don't have access to that.
It does make me wonder what they actually done other than getting it on Steam or getting it onto platforms.
Like, it's nice that we have an option to purchase these games through a storefront, like, so they're not lost to time.
Yeah.
But the versions of the games that are on offer are just not the best.
Yeah,
which is a shame to see.
On PC, I recommend the GOG ones. From what
are the GOG ports still up?
Yeah,
because they took them down initially.
Yeah,
and people are like, "Oh, they're going to remaster them," so you can still get them on GOG. Because I've been, it's like whenever
I don't know if they're fully complete, but
whenever I'm like, I want to play an obscure game, it's like I buy it on GOG. Like I got I bought recently the original Rayman titles because you can only get them on GOG, and I also got Star Trek Elite Voyager, Elite Force 1 and 2 on there as well because that's the only place to get them.
There's some old games that like you can buy on Steam but don't work very well, and the GOG version just works.
So GOG actually puts in like extra work into patching them up. Yeah. Like I think the GOG version of Fallout New Vegas, for example, comes with the 4 GB patched exe fix by default. Like there's very common patches and fixes that GOG just put in to like actually preserve and support older games, but
yeah,
it's
I just recommend old game. Go to GOG. Obviously, this doesn't work if you're on a console or anything, which is like one of this could have been good.
I mean, for me, generally, I would like to pick up stuff on Steam because I want to just load it up on my Steam Deck. But you know, let's move on to Ark Survival Ascended came out. So this is Ark reimagined from the ground up into a next generation of video game technology with Unreal Engine 5, and it is already mixed reviews. I'm guessing it runs like shit based on how I remember Ark running. I had Ark on release. And it ran so poorly, I just refunded it. I was like, fuck this game. I'm not playing this.
I don't understand the mechanics of it either. Like, they seem like half-baked. I know it's like survival stuff is like it's
meant to be them remastering the original game in Unreal Engine 5 is like the idea behind this one.
So it should be like fully feature complete.
Well, it's launched to early access. So
I'm confused.
Didn't Ark is Ark out of Ark Survival Evolved? Didn't that come out of early access at some point? Let me look this up because I'm not because there was that huge controversy where people wanted to just buy the remaster of but you had to buy Ark 2 and the remaster together as a bundle. You weren't allowed to buy them separately. So Ark Survival Evolved came out of early access on the 27th of August 2017.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And I guess there are updates after the fact.
Yeah, let's read the reviews, see what people are saying. The game is dependent on Epic Online Services. Okay. For any multiplayer functionality, EOS is blocked here. The requirement should be mentioned in the system requirements on the store page. I agree to agree. It has DRM. And we've seen this, the new Sonic game got like massively flagged by reviews on Steam because it required an Epic account to play a single-player Sonic game on Steam.
Yeah.
And people were like, what the fuck's going on? Somebody says here 46 hours complete improvement overall. So my computer is on life support because of a dinosaur game. I cannot connect to any server after over a week of game release. Absolutely regret buying this game. Fix your crash issues and graphic issues. Do not buy this game, not in this state, not for $40 period, negating all the unaccepted things Snail and Wildcard have done. This game is genuinely unplayable and unacceptable. They're gradually making improvements, though. This is not okay. This company makes too much money for it to feel it's okay to release a game in early access like this. Early access is just an excuse to get away with throwing out unfunctioning product for $40. It's entirely unoptimized. Unless you genuinely have a 5K PC, you will not be getting 60 FPS without sacrificing a huge chunk of quality.
Performance in games.
It seems like bad performance, and it's a multiplayer game with not very great servers at the moment. So I guess maybe I'll check back on this one to see if that's improved over time. But
not too many people are complaining about the.
I'm honestly not that. I'm not that interested in Ark Survival Evolved. I don't know about you. I mean, I think I have the game free on Epic or something, but yeah. Oh, I apparently own it on Steam as well. So yeah.
Oh no.
I must have got it in a bundle or something.
Yeah. Interesting. No,
Next
I
up,
think
go on.
survival stuff can be I'd say survival games be hit and miss, and kind of a miss for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you like this game, you like this game. I mean, I'm not here to rain your parade, but it just doesn't look like something for me.
It's not. Yeah, it's not for me.
Next up, we have Ghost Runner 2 came out, and it's got very positive reviews. But Tony, spoiler alert, I went to the community hub. Apparently, the demo had stuttering, and I was like, that's not good. Let me check the community hub for the release. The full game has stuttering as well. They have not fixed it. Unreal Engine strikes again.
Yeah, it's just like real-time shader compilation sort of stuff. Is that what people are suspecting?
It's so disappointing because this is such like a... Because when I was playing it, it's such a fast-paced, fluid game, and it feels so good to move in, and suddenly it's like, new shader being loaded, and you can just feel it, and it's just like...
We've never seen this before.
And people are saying like, oh, you just need a powerful system. I'm playing on a powerful system, and I'm getting fucking stuttering from the demo, so...
Yeah, shader compilation stuff is a real miss for Unreal.
That's always the funniest thing to me, where people are saying, oh, I'm getting shader compilation. They're like, well, it works fine on my PC. What do you mean? Oh, that's the funniest...
After I played the game...
Digital Foundry was saying they need to open a merch store, and one of the shirts they sell should just say, it works fine on my PC, as like a merch idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, gameplay-wise, it looks really fun. But yeah. I think people are... Let's have a look. Good game, but a major step down in combat from Ghost Runner 1. Unfortunately, they made the mistake that Doom Eternal's a sequel has avoided. Ghost Runner 2 is too focused on the story instead of gameplay. As a result, pacing and combat become far less interesting compared to the first game. Combat arenas are too open with large gaps between enemies. It makes all encounters easy and samey. Menus do not include parkour and environment to your advantage. Parkour is only used to negate the next enemy. Menus do not have any advanced level design. Ghost Runner had a lot of great arenas that always challenged the player and required different approach, like the 5 swordman moment. All Ghost Runner 2 arenas have the same approach: kill all enemies, hold block button between kills. The block button makes the game too easy and less fun as a result. It acts like a crutch for a bad playstyle. I think they should have kept it as part of an easy mode and let hardcore players parry with left mouse button just like before. Platforming is fun but flawed. Outside sections were a mistake. And final thoughts. Okay. Yeah, I mean, one thing I was complaining about for the demo was like, that I noticed was the areas were way bigger than Ghost Runner 1, as someone who completed Ghost Runner 1 and loved that game. And the thing I ran into was I was just running around these giant areas trying to find the last alive enemy, because I was like, where the fuck are they? I'm in this giant arena where like the arenas are definitely a lot bigger from what I experienced. And yeah, I think it seems like overall people... Yeah, I don't know. I think it's okay. I mean, ultimately, you don't have to block if you don't want to.
No, I was saying it's less skill based than the first game.
I mean, usually for me, I just use like the slow motion dodging in the midair is how I generally do it.
So you don't have much. You don't use it that much then.
No, I wasn't actually that aware of the blocking mechanic, to be honest with you. I do use the parry. For like the guys that come at you with swords, you can parry them and then you can immediately kill them, which is quite useful. But yeah. I think I'm still interested to try this one out, but I think it's a real shame that it's another game that's released with stutter when it really didn't need to.
Yeah.
Just needed a little bit more time to iron that out. And they never fixed the stuttering issue in the first one, so I doubt they'll fix it in the second one.
It's a lot harder to fix. I don't know what the trade-off... Oh, yeah, it's more trade-offs to make it run smooth.
Next up, we have Song of Nunu, a League of Legends story came out. It's another Riot Forge game, this time by Tequila Works. Let's see what Tequila Works has worked on, because it's got very positive reviews, which is interesting. They worked on The Invisible Hours. They worked on some VR games. Groundhog Day, Like Father, Like Son. They worked on Rhyme. and Guilt. Wasn't this game a Stadia exclusive? And then now it's coming to Steam, I believe.
Is that one? Is it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is this new game?
Fun game that survived the death of Stadia. Yeah, it was that one. So let's have a look at. So I think it's like an exploration sort of platformy adventure-y.
Oh, okay.
As someone who knows the deep lore of League of Legends,
Yep.
the kid on top is Nunu and the Yeti is Willump. That's something I can tell you.
Is that important to know?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
What the fuck is my jungler doing? Okay, it's a League of Legends player there. Finished the first playthrough with my 6-year-old son alongside. It had all the ups and downs of a great adventure. We both had a blast. The past 4 days I've been playing this together. It's been genuinely the most loving and heartwarming game experience I've had, and I do it again alongside my son. And seeing his eyes and face light up with pure joy and excitement, loving the whole setting, scenes, fantastic music score, and story from start to finish, as well as his first real game experience, just enhanced all this game's quality a little further for all the fun gameplay, art, story, and the memories made. I thank the devs for a wonderful experience. Much love.
That's cool. That's nice to see.
Seems like it's quite a nice, wholesome game.
Yeah.
We must protect Willump at all costs. Well, Tony, if you read that review, you would be like, "Who's Willump?" But now you know the deep lore. Now you know the deep lore.
You know what? Though I'm gonna forget. I'm pretty sure you've told me multiple.
I've told you. I've probably told you.
And I forget every time. Reminds me of the other thing that I forget every time, but I can't currently remember it, so I can't tell you what I've forgotten.
It's very positive reviewed, but I can't really see any. It's 625 reviews, so it's not a crazy high amount. But I haven't seen any in-depth reviews here.
Like performance.
Going in what sort of stuff makes it really good. So maybe we'll have to, because this only came out on the 1st of November, so maybe we have to wait a little bit longer, see if somebody does a full review of this. I'm sure people have streamed this on Twitch. I probably just missed it, although it did just come out on November 1st.
A little bit more niche, maybe, but at least. Yeah, if this was just like a
looks fun
platforming story.
At Steam Deck verified as well. You'd love to see that. Looks like it would be a good game on the Dick.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Why is why are they saying it's using Unreal?
Does anyone have random stuttering issues? I don't know exactly when they occur, but around there was something like new dialogue interaction.
That makes the other post asking if this is Unreal or not a very, very good question.
Optimized gaming Unreal Engine 4 and 5 universal stutter fix. What the fuck is this? I don't know.
Is that like a DLL injection?
I don't know. Let's move on. RoboCop Rogue City came out 2nd November. This was another game I played in the Steam Demo Fest, and I absolutely blew me away. I loved it. It's made by the same devs who did that Terminator Resistance game, and it has such a great mix of a game making you feel like RoboCop, like a slow, tanky dude police officer, while also mixing it up with sort of like interesting sort of like RPG choice matter like discussions and stuff like that. Like there's actual detective stuff.
How you approach missions.
Yeah, there's like RPG elements and stuff like that. It was really fun from the demo play, and it seems like people are loving the release. It's got very positive reviews, and they fixed the stutter issues in the demo, and it seems like I believe they fixed it in the full game as well. Which is awesome to see.
So maybe they could. Is this an Unreal game?
Yeah, Unreal Engine 5, I believe.
Yeah, okay. Maybe they can fix stutters from other games. Maybe they've figured something out, or they've just optimized their real type shader.
I don't know how they fixed it, because it started for me when I played the demo, and then there was an update. And the update was like 50 gigabytes, and I'm like, I'm not downloading a 50 gigabyte update just to see if this fixed the stutter. I'm finished for this game now. I don't want to play it anymore because I don't want to spoil the full release because I'm interested in playing it.
It looks really
It
good.
was one of those games where generally I was like, how long is this demo? Because I know I'm going to play this again because I want to play this game. I'm really, like when it comes out. Like I really want to try this out. So
sometimes smaller, especially if it's like story-based, sometimes smaller chunks or smaller demos are better.
It feels like a throwback to single-player FPS of the 2000s. It's nice to be able to enjoy something on release day without endless game-breaking bugs. 8 out of 10.
I wonder what game they're referring to when they say that.
There's an achievement for shooting somebody in the crotch. 11 out of 10. Okay, this one's quite funny. I'd buy that for $1. So, I saw this and I was like, I thought somebody was making a critique on the game, saying, "Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's only worth $1." But I've later found out that's a quote from the RoboCop film.
Yes.
So
it's like an advert on TV. I'll buy that for $1.
Talos Principle 2 came out and is overwhelmingly positive. I believe it's another Unreal Engine 5 title. Let's have a look. So I didn't play this demo because, again, I haven't played the Talos Principle 1, and I also just want to play the full game itself. I wanted to go into it, sort of thing. So I'll probably check this out once I've played the Talos Principle 1, because I think I have the Talos Principle 1, but I wasn't sure whether to play the PC version or the VR version, because there's also a VR version of the full Talos Principle. So
I think
let's have a look.
I thought there's the same game, but just in VR. I thought, wasn't it? So like you could do either.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure which one I was going to do, because
I think especially now you've got the Quest 3, it's like VR makes a lot of sense.
Here I thought it's impossible for Crow Team to match the quality and depth of the first game. How Romeo was, from the natural environments and architecture to the music, the puzzles, the characters, the story, the constant self-reflective and thoughtful arguments. Everything fits together so perfectly and flows so organically while staying true to its roots. The attention to detail is also extraordinary. Fun and convoluted puzzle game, interesting philosophical exploration of free will and morality in a deterministic universe.
Yeah,
an absolute time vampire, all of the above. Okay. Yeah, it seems like people really love this. I'm excited to try it out at some point. It's good. The Bejeweled 3 voice actor found another job, lol. Wait, the guy from Bejeweled 3 is in this? I love Bejeweled 3. There's no... Guys, I have to show you something.
What voice actor in Bejeweled 3?
In Bejeweled, when you're playing Bejeweled 3, it's like... Epic. It's like...
that guy?
Yeah, like the guy who does like... so I have 130 hours in Bejeweled 3. I love Bejeweled 3. I think the voiceover is great. And yeah, if they've got the Bejeweled 3 voice actor, it's a guaranteed banger. It's a guaranteed banger. But yeah, Tony, this one kind of came out of nowhere for me. I put this one in last minute. Shrek Kart. DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing came out. The 3rd of November, like literally 2 days ago.
I swear all of these kart games just come out of nowhere. I don't understand.
I'll tell you why, Tony. They're all made by the same people.
What?
So this is the Bamtang Games, who also made Nickelodeon Kart Racing.
Right. Okay.
And so they've made both of those. So we've had Disney Speedstorm came out this year, and I played it. And I was like, it was pretty good, but it's pay to win, so there's no point playing it. Then we had Nickelodeon Kart 3, I think. Paw Patrol Grand Prix, I've learned about. Apparently, is a thing on Xbox Game Pass, as my friend got that recently. I'm a big fan of Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed. I think it's the best kart racer on PC. And I sent this to my friend yesterday, and he's like, why is there so many kart racing games? And I said to him, Mario Kart 8 is the 6th best-selling game of all time.
Yep.
All time.
I think people
there is no game that has sold as many units below the 6th place. Like it's insane. Like I think like above it is like Minecraft and PUBG, but it's like the amount of money Nintendo has made from Mario Kart is insane. It's like, no wonder other companies are going, hey, give us access to your IP, or them going to these guys and going, hey, we've got this IP, make a kart racing game so we can print money. Because there is not a lot of great kart racing games available outside of Mario Kart.
It looks like this isn't another. This is also one that's not great from the reviews.
Well, it's got mixed reviews. So from what I've heard, it's a bit janky. So a good game, but absolutely filled with jank. Mechanically, it's just fine, but the developers did all kinds of really freaky crap that just gets in the way. This game is severely lacking in artistic polish, but more importantly, is littered with technical issues. Maybe as a console game, this would pass, but it's on PC. It's not worth $40. Get it during a summer sale or something. Some issues I found that even 1 minute into playing constantly tries to open Steam VR, even though the game has no Steam VR support. If you do dash no HMD into launch options, it will not try to launch into VR. I literally run into this problem all the time, because if you have a VR headset connected to your PC and you launch an Unreal Engine 4 title and they haven't unticked the VR option, it will try to launch into VR for no reason. Dear. I shouldn't run into this issue anymore, because I don't have a virtual headset connected to the PC, because I've given the Vive back to my brother since I got the Meta Quest 3. But yeah. We got reports the game is breaking on GeForce 40 series cards, so it seems a little bit unoptimized. But I do think it's funny that people are just writing reviews with ASCII pictures of Shrek. I mean, this is why you make kart races with mascots. People don't care; they just want to play as Shrek.
People reviewed this though, so I think people maybe do care.
32 reviews. I mean,
I think
I'm a connoisseur of shit kart racing games. I mean, let me tell you how many hours I have in Garfield Kart.
But here's the thing: like, I think it is really fun to like play as characters. I
have 2 hours in Garfield Kart, and I have an hour in Garfield Kart Furious Racing. So I know
it was that good.
I know the true joy of greatly made kart racing games.
But imagine if Shrek Kart was actually a great game as well as you could play.
Oh, let's check back on Garfield Lasagna Party. It's very positive, Garfield Lasagna Party. I need to pick this one up for party games, apparently. That's one thing I do with kart racing games is I load them onto my Steam Deck and I hook up to a TV when I go around a friend's house, and I'm like, let's play some shit kart racing games.
But wouldn't it be better if you could say, let's play a good kart racing game?
I mean, I have Mario Kart on my Steam Deck, so...
Yeah, but with different
I have
characters.
Sonic All-Star Racing. I loaded up Team Sonic, the last party we were at, the Halloween party I wanted to. I installed Team Sonic Racing, and I didn't play it, but some of my friends were playing it, and I think they thought it was okay. I'm not a big fan of Team Sonic Racing, to be honest with you. I think Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed is still the much better game.
Yeah,
but
I think most people thought that.
Let's move on to Emulation Retro. Jak 2 unofficial PC port is now out in beta. So, if you don't know, Open Goal is basically reverse engineering the Jak code, and they basically have fully reverse engineered Jak 1. It's been playable. I have played it on my Steam Deck as a native PC port, and it was... it's slightly harder to get it on the Steam Deck because you essentially have to get your copy of Jak and then compile it because of legal issues, because they can give you the decompiled PC port code, but they cannot distribute licensed ROMs because that is piracy. But one thing, when I originally did it, you couldn't really compile it on Linux. So one thing that I did was I compiled it on Windows and moved it over onto Linux in order to set it up, and that's worked fine. But apparently there's a launcher now which allows you to basically easily compile it on PC and Linux, and there's even a Decky plugin that is just the OpenGoal Decky plugin. So it basically, you launch the plugin through Decky. If you don't have Decky installed on your Steam Deck, install it. It's one of the most useful fucking things on the Steam Deck, third-party stuff. And essentially, it'll just let you very easily install Jak and Daxter. You just have to go to desktop mode. It'll create a folder. You drag and drop your ISO into that folder. You go back into game mode. You compile it in game mode by clicking one button. So it will compile it, and then you can click another button, and it'll add a shortcut to the game with Steam Grid icons already for you. So the game looks nice in your library, and you can just launch it from there. So it's super simple to do on Steam Deck. It's super easy. And they have this launcher. So if you have a ISO file of Jack 1 or Jack 2, you can use this launcher in order to basically play Jack native PC port, and it also will let you easily update the game as well, because the Jack 2 is in beta. There will be constant updates to improve the game, and also, Tony, it lets you use older versions and roll back if a new update introduces a bug for you.
Oh, excellent. Good.
And there's also it will allow you to install mods. They've said the mod API is very limited right now, but people have made their own like original levels with the limited mod API for the reverse engineered code so far. So that's really cool to see. And using this launcher should allow you to install like HD packs. Like I manually installed the HD pack for Jack 1, and it looks great. So yeah, really, really cool to see. They said they need more people to contribute translations to their GitHub. And so if you speak different languages, they need people to help them translate the game into as many different languages as possible. And yeah, they're still looking for... This is an example of one of the mods that somebody made, which is really cool. But yeah, awesome. I like Jack. I've played the first Jack after I borrowed it from a friend, but I never completed it. But it's always been one of those games where I'm like, I love Ratchet and Clank, and I'm like, I should love this game. So I need to actually go back and play it. I put it on my Steam Deck. I might...
well, Jack 2 is very different to Jack 1, so I'm going
to say. Well, I might install the launcher and try and compile Jack 1 and Jack 2 on my PC and give those a go once I'm finished with Super Mario Wonder. I need another another project once I'm done with that, because I'm not sure what my next project is going to be. I in my head right now, it's either going to be reverse engineered. I kind of like the idea of just playing one of the reverse engineered ports. So I would like to play Jack 1 or 2, probably Jack 1 first. So Jack, the Super Mario 64 reverse engineered, or the Shipper Harkanian reverse engineered port of The Legend of Zelda is really, really cool. So I'd like to go back and try one of those. And yeah, seems really cool. Next up, Tony, we have an update for Counter-Strike 2. The map workshop update. Whoa, Counter-Strike 2 has a map workshop now. That's crazy, bro. Imagine if there was a game called Counter-Strike Global Offensive that already had this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw recently, Valve put out like a survey, and they said, man, we're so surprised that our most played game mode for Counter-Strike 2 is Premiere mode. Like, everyone's playing Premiere mode, our new mode that lets you level up on specific maps and go to this leaderboard in order to try and be the best. And everyone was just like, yeah, that's because you removed literally every other game mode. There is no arms race. There is no fucking wingman. There's no community fucking... They did an interview with PC Gamer recently, actually, and they were saying, like, they want to try and support community, because they seriously asked about Surf and stuff, and they were like, we don't have any immediate plans to add Surf as like an official game mode CS2, but we do want to try and support community stuff as much as possible. So hopefully we get some more love from Valve in terms of, the like the Surf stuff, or the, I don't know, Jailbreak was something I used to play in the day in Counter-Strike, Zombie Escape, zombie mode, stuff like that. Like, the stuff they've been doing with TF2 is really cool. Like, just making official community game modes, proper game modes. I know CS2 is a very competitive game, but I love seeing that sort of stuff. So I think this is a step in the right direction.
Change it up shortly. Yeah. But there still feels like it's still behind the original Go.
Yeah, I mean, they basically said, "Look, it's gonna be a pain point moving everyone from CS:GO to CS2, and we thought we would rip off the band-aid now and get, the core gameplay is the main priority for us because that's where they make their money. Is everyone plays the competitive, and then the more sideline stuff will come later." But yeah.
I don't know why it's just not a new game though. Why replace? I just don't get it.
Because people would
reuse their items, aren't they though?
Yeah, I think if you let people carry their item over to the new game, it still could potentially completely crash the Steam marketplace in terms of value. Because I wouldn't say so. Tony, how valuable is an item if it exists in CS:GO and CS2?
No, I would say keep it as the same item. Just make it interoperable between the two games.
Right, but that's
only one item.
But we saw Valve accidentally released a crate in TF2 that basically was guaranteed unusual hats, and it almost destroyed the TF2 Steam community market. Small changes can make really big impacts, and I think from a financial standpoint, Valve did the right thing for themselves to transfer the game. I mean, for me and you, who just want to go back and play older accounts, I was playing Condition Zero a month ago, it makes sense that I like to do that sort of stuff, but from a business standpoint, it was in Valve's best interest to do this.
My issue is I don't really like the business decision in the fact the way it's operated anyway, and the fact that it's now causing another bad decision in terms of just not releasing a new game, to me just makes it worse.
Let's go.
I don't know. I think they should just release a new game.
Well, let's go into Blunders. This week we have Xbox, a new policy says goodbye to unofficial accessories. So unless you are an official third-party Xbox authorized controller maker, you will no longer be able to use that controller with an Xbox anymore.
Oh no!
There will come up.
The Apple route then.
There's an error code that comes up now that says in a I think it's in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, something, it will no longer be able to play with that controller in order to try and go, hey, you can return that accessory. That is if people just bought these accessories and are in a return window for them, which I'm like, oh, okay. So I know why they're doing this. This is to stop people using strike packs on competitive FPS games.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I found out recently about strike packs from my friend Calvin, who's a big Apex player, and he's like, there's these things called strike packs that are like one button hacking and cheating in Apex specifically, or other FPS games, that basically you press a button on the controller's hardware that essentially gets around anti-cheat software, and they're basically trying to cut that off. The big L here is the fighting game community has so many third-party controllers called fight sticks. So you have these giant boxes that have analog what they call a joystick and buttons, like an arcade cabinet, and people love playing on these things. And a lot of these things are not going to be authorized by Xbox, and it's going to be well, I've spent a lot of money building a fight cabinet or a fight box or whatever, and I'm no longer be able to play fighting games on Xbox. It's going to push people to either be playing on PC or potentially PlayStation. I know I read someone on Reddit was saying a lot of tournaments are basically all on PlayStation. A lot of tournaments require you to have a controller that works with Sony's PlayStation 5. So he was saying the box he has is compatible with the PS5, and you're then gonna, if you're an Xbox player, you're already gonna have to try and find a box that's not only certified by Xbox, is also certified by PlayStation. At that point, you would probably just switch to only playing on PlayStation because the tournaments are playing on PlayStation, and and Xbox says no, you need to run on our system as well. So. Yeah, it's not a great move, I don't think. I understand, trying to stop these cheaters in Apex and other FPS games.
Yeah. The thing is, I just feel surely you could still modify. I know this is harder. You can still modify authorized controllers to do some of this stuff. I know, again, this is harder, but to me, it's like, there's some server-side mitigations you could do to try and, again, not stop, but mitigate some of this
Yeah,
shooting.
I mean, imagine...
less salting of the
earth. Imagine you load up a game on PC and you plug in a controller and it goes, "Nah, you can't use that controller. This is not certified by us."
But I know. This is like I know some of these things are much more sophisticated than this, and some of the solutions are going to be a lot harder than this. But like, I find it crazy that some games just allow you to go like super speed. It's like, why don't you just do a check of maximum speed that you know they can do? Because that was just huge. Have it on server side checking the speed.
You remember
it's not that difficult.
You remember in the PS2 era where most people had one of those like dodgy third-party controllers, like a turbo button or some sort, or like you would get like game genies or stuff like that.
Yes, but I just don't understand. It's like, just check if you're already doing physics calculations on the server side. Just put checks in, like, is this what a human should be allowed to do? Is it outside the range? I know they already sort of do it, but like, just do more tweaking like that. I think less just banning stuff. I just think. I don't know. Like, maybe like cheating's gone so bad. I don't on these servers. On console. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't like the you can't use your controller.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fighting tournaments, Nintendo's come out with some new community tournament guidelines recently that everyone's been like, "What the fuck are they even on about?" So, no tournament will be granted permission with more than 200 participants per day. Entry fees cannot be more than £18 per person. The tournament prize cannot be larger than £4,500. And organizers may not receive goods, services, money, etc. from third parties as sponsors. It's like, what the fuck is Nintendo on about? And it's like, people are looking at this and they're like, is this even legally enforceable? Like, can you go to somebody's third-party fighting tournament and be like, "Hey, you're not allowed to charge that much for, your tournament of our game"? Like, it feels like they're kind of outstepping their jurisdiction there.
If you have say like I wanted to host, like say I had tons of money and I wanted to host a tournament and I was like using someone else's hardware, like, do they have any? Like, I'm using it commercially, I guess, but do I need a commercial license?
Some of the things they said make sense, right? They were like, "Hey, you can't put up a giant sign that says Nintendo and say this is endorsed by Nintendo." Sure, that's legally enforceable, but
you don't need to update any guidelines for that. That's just the law.
Nintendo is so weird with like Evo for the longest time has had a Smash tournament. Like, Smash is one of the most popular fighting games out there, and constantly Nintendo is trying to stop it for some reason. I don't understand. Like,
despite it bring up popularity,
Melee is one of the OG Smash games, and people love Melee. People are playing Melee to this day. It is one of the biggest fighting games out there, and Nintendo is like, "Why would you play Melee? We have Smash Ultimate. Just play Smash Ultimate. We're gonna try and fucking DMCA people trying to play Melee," and they have this weird like obsession with trying to control every little way their game is shown. Like, I don't know.
You don't own it.
Did you see recently someone modded the flowers in Super Mario Wonders to say swear words and Nintendo DMCA'd it?
Yeah, they need to understand, like, what's like artist, but like author versus like the audience sort of thing. It's like, you need to let it go once you put it out there. It's no longer yours.
Yeah. Who was it recently that was trying to... I think it was Capcom were very upset with mods being made for their game. They were like...
Oh, yes. It was Capcom.
Let me have a look. Capcom warns of reputational damage from mods which violate public order and morals.
All I'm gonna say is, stop making it your thing. Like it's like, it's like the whole the copyright harbor thing, like the Millennium Act, like sort of stuff, like on YouTube. It's like, if someone uploads like sweary content on YouTube, that doesn't mean YouTube company and Google like endorse this amount of swearing. They just have a free platform. Like, can we not just don't associate with the mods? Just don't. You're a separate entity.
So they've said like this. Eurogamer sent out to Capcom saying clarification on what is considered to be offensive to public orders and morals, because
yeah,
I mean, there's mods that just turn the head of a 50-year-old Chris Redfield, or perform the classic Thomas the Tank Engine swap-in mods. I mean, one of my favorite things was you could just change Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 to be like Dr. Disrespect running around the halls chasing you down.
That's so good. I fucking love mods. Stop trying to shut mods down.
I don't know.
Let them do it.
Obviously, there is a lot of like weird like nude mods people make for like Resident Evil.
But that's not their problem. They're modding a product that they own. That's how I see it.
This came from a presentation on anti-cheat and anti-tamper from Capcom. And in the same presentation, Capcom stated, for the sake of anti-cheat and anti-piracy, all mods are defined as cheats. That is to say that mods are not officially supported by the game and are impossible to distinguish from cheat tools implementation-wise. It continued, indeed, a piece of anti-tamper software cannot detect a mod's intention, but if I give myself infinite ammo in a single-player game, I'm not sure what cheating I'm guilty of. So...
Yeah, what are they cheating? Like, if we're talking about multiplayer games, sure. Like, yeah, you can't mod a multiplayer game, sure. Like, I think we've all accepted that. We're talking about single player games. Like, what are they on about? Why do they care if I'm cheating in my game?
Like, if somebody wants to have infinite ammo in Resident Evil, wow, I don't know.
Who cares?
I don't care.
Who cares? It's not your fucking game. It's like my game on my computer.
It's like when people are like, "Oh man, you can't turn the difficulty down on this game because you're not getting the true experience." Like the gatekeeping that comes from other people playing single-player games and people getting triggered that they're not playing it on the same like goalpost that they've set up for themselves is like insane sometimes.
It's like just like these are things to have fun, and to me that's like stepping over the boundary. Like they're trying to own something that you've bought from them, and it's like no, it's not yours anymore. Like I saw create it and you have the license, but
I saw a clip from one show and they were Linus was saying he wanted to host his own Smash tournament, but basically host it by breaking every single ridiculous rule that Nintendo has set. It's like, so there will be 201 participants. They will have an entry fee of £19 per person, so like a pound over like what they say or whatever, right? And they will have a prize pool that is slightly more than you're allowed. And just see like what would happen if they did that. Like obviously they're not going to say it's endorsed by Nintendo or whatever, but
no,
these just don't seem legally enforceable. And it seems like Nintendo's MO when it comes to these sort of things is by using like
being a bully,
using bully tactics such as scaring away advertisers or basically just DMCAing streams. So one of the main ways that big community tournaments make money is through advertising through their live streams, and then Nintendo goes, "Oh, yeah, that's our game. We're DMCAing this entire stream." You know?
Yeah, it's absolutely awful and it is despicable. I think the developers at Nintendo are great, but the executives and law people.
Well, let's move on to VR news. We've got one piece of VR news this week. Two, actually. Half-Life 2 VR mod has an unofficial branch from it. The amazing Half-Life 2 VR mod has a fork now that has universal melee combat. So you can not only use the crowbar, you can punch Combine in the face with your bare fists. Can gun slap, so you can like hit enemies with the butt of your gun. And there's also universal dual wield, so you can dual wield any gun and any gun combination.
Crowbar.
Yeah, so you can dual wield pistols, or you could have like a pistol and a shotgun, or a pistol and a crowbar, or whatever, right? Like, they've taken the awesome mod and added more like quality of life stuff to it, which I think is really cool. I played the Half-Life 2 VR mod this year, I believe. Was it this year or last year? But I think it's really good. But I played it on the Vive, So I think I'm going to have to try episode 1 and episode 2 playing on the MetaQuest 2 and see how different it is playing with the joystick controls, because I think it's going to be a lot better. So yeah, this looks really cool. And then we also have Steam VR 2 came out of beta, and it looks really awesome. So you get that full updated keyboard support, awesome looking Steam Deck, Steam looking UI, improved store, access to Steam notifications. So Steam VR 2.0 is out there.
It was originally based on the big picture stuff, right? Like the old UI.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember what the other one looked like now, not having used it.
I also find it really funny that the Steam VR theater mode has been in beta since 2016. Like it's been in beta for the past 7 years. But apparently on the beta branch of Steam VR, they're doing updates to it. So it seems like finally Steam Theater mode might be coming out of beta. I mean, I did use Steam Theater mode for a long time until I got Virtual Desktop, and then I just started using their Theater mode because it was way more. It had way more features.
Right.
Yeah, interesting to see.
From one's not, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one that I wanted to mention. So I got the free credit for using a referral code from someone for the MetaQuest 2. MetaQuest 3, and I bought Virtual Desktop immediately, which I think is a purchase everyone should make with their free credit if they get referred by someone. If you don't have a friend who has one, go online and just use somebody's online referral code, because not only will they get credit, but you will get free credits from using a referral code, so it's free money to spend on the Meta Store. With my leftover credit, I got Resident Evil 4 VR port because it was on Halloween sale. So I picked that up. So I've got that on my Quest, so I can play that at some point, which is cool to see. Let's move on to business news, and then we'll end with our main topics. Atari enters an agreement to acquire Digital Eclipse. So Digital Eclipse is the focus on the digital restoration of classic video games. They made the Street Fighter 30th anniversary, the Mega Man Legacy Collection, SNK 40th anniversary, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection, and Disney Classic Games Collection. So this is a development studio that is focused on preserving classic games, and this is perfect for Atari's current MO. They just picked up Night Dive, and now they're picking up another really awesome studio in Digital Eclipse. So if they genuinely want to just, go and remaster old games under the Atari brand, I think this is the perfect company to pick up. And with how hands-off they've been with Night Dive, just letting them do whatever they, want, and just being like, we trust you sort of thing, I think it's, Atari genuinely are making a cool comeback at the moment.
As long as they're more hands off, I think that's very good.
And Devolver Digital has acquired System Error, the developers of Astroneer, so they are now a official Devolver Digital first party studio. We've seen way more acquisitions from Devolver Digital since they went public. Like they went their initial IPA. Was it last year or early this year? It was.
I thought it was
not that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. They're talking about for.
But hopefully they don't. Do the shareholder crash and burn, expand too quickly, and then run out of money. El Clasico.
Yeah. I mean, they're still kind of doing what they've always been doing. So, I feel like maybe people understand what they're doing. So, hopefully that continues. But
our main news was we had a small Xbox partner preview event where they showed off a couple of Xbox third-party partner games, and the first one we'll talk about is Icaro Will Not Die. This one's interesting because it's a Future Lab game, Tony. So it's the developers of Power Wash Simulator have made a brand new game in a completely different genre. So it's like a fast-paced action game. I think it's a roguelite as well.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see if they can take their good development chops for Power Wash and just turn it into something completely different. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I'm not super into the game, but I thought it was interesting to talk about because of who's developing Future Lab. But but it is the spiritual successor to the critically acclaimed Game of the Year Velocity 2X. The new arcade action title delivers an exhilarating blend of gravity surfing, action, and unique combat in a game built around momentum. Like, I love fast-paced games, so this could potentially be something I really love. But if there's a demo out for this, I will definitely be checking it out. I think it is one of the games I want to keep my eye on, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet, you know? And then the last interesting one was we got a first in-engine look at Metal Gear Triangle, Snake Eater. This is the...
We're never not going to call it that, by the way.
That's what I love calling it, so...
Yeah, I don't want us to change. So.
One thing to point out, though, it's in-engine footage.
Yeah, it's going to be it's basically like super vertical slice.
So we don't actually have any gameplay, so... It could look like this on launch. It could look worse. I have no idea.
I think it's always going to look worse. I think at best it will look like this.
It looks okay. I mean, it's running in Fox Engine. Is this running in Fox Engine?
It looks like it, but I don't know.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake Engine. What is it? Do we know? Is it Unreal Engine 4? Do we know?
They have a powered by at the end, or this, either on this or like the previous.
Oh, it is Unreal Engine 5, yeah. So they're not using the Fox engine anymore, which is like a really cool in-house engine.
Yeah, I think we keep seeing like in-house engines that are really cool just dying, and then
much easier to hire people when you have like a unified engine system. If everyone's an Unreal Engine 5, you have such a big talent pool.
I think they maybe need to hire more people to try and deal with shader compilation then.
Yeah. And then I also wrote down, but I didn't put in the trailer. Like a Dragon showed off like a Animal Crossing mode, which I thought was funny, but ultimately not something I'm really interested in. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought
And let's move on to BlizzCon, Tony. Oh my god, BlizzCon!
Oh, I can't wait.
I watched this live. I mean, they fucking start they started the conference with Overwatch 2, and I was like, oh my god! Like, not only did they start with Overwatch 2, they just kept going on about Overwatch 2, and not only did they go on about Overwatch 2, they went on about Overwatch 2 esports. I don't know if you've seen the news recently, but the Overwatch 2 league is literally voting to shut down the league because nobody wants to be in it anymore, because it is one of the most forced esports they've ever... Like, people were begging Blizzard to allow StarCraft 2 to be an officially supported esport, and they were like, no. Yep. And then Overwatch 2 comes out, and they're like, this has to be an esport. Let's get venture capitalists in. Let's get everyone to invest in this. And it just never took off. But yeah, the first piece of news that I was kind of interested in was the Diablo talk. Just some funny things to point out. Phil Spencer was actually there at the conference. This is the first BlizzCon. So it's the first BlizzCon since 2019. So the first BlizzCon in 4 years, in person at least. And Phil Spencer was there to talk very briefly about the Microsoft acquisition. I said he was excited. I like how the guy came out and he was like, any heroes of Overwatch? Any Defenders of Azeroth? Any Defenders of Azeroth, or all of our other great IPs? And someone in the crowd just shouted, what about StarCraft? And he was just sort of... I was like, that was pretty funny. Like, they have just kind of ignored StarCraft for the longest time.
It's such a shame. I still think StarCraft 2 is... I mean, where's StarCraft 3?
But Rod Ferguson came out to talk about his Malignant Tunnel and Diablo 4. And I thought it was really funny because they did that thing. They were like, any fans of Diablo 2 Resurrected? And they were like, yeah. Any fans of Diablo 4? Yeah. Any fans of Diablo Immortal? Silence. But I feel like this is so fucking early. Like, we literally just got Diablo 4 this year, in summer this year, and they already announced the expansion. Like, The gap between Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls was like years, I think.
Yeah, I'm concerned how little development time they'll have for like how polished it'll be or how big it'll be.
Let me just Google it quickly. Was it? So there was 2 years between Diablo 3 and Reaper of Souls, and
that sounds about right.
This is potentially a 1 year gap between the expansion.
Yeah, at most, if you think about overlapping in like projects and teams, it was like a year and a half. But
yeah, because it's announced for late 2024, but.
And they could have been working, and some teams could have been like started working on it like months before the release.
So what we know about this expansion is it is going to be carrying on the story of Mephistophon, I believe. The end of Diablo 4, we had the mage girl woman took Mephistophon, and she basically made sure Lilith didn't get access to it. And I guess we're going to be carrying on that story, seeing what happened to her, because we're going back to a Diablo 2 zone that has never been in Diablo since Diablo 2. So it's actually like a luscious green area, which is not something we're used to seeing in like Diablo games, apart from Diablo 2.
Like a Mayan sort of.
That's the sort of vibe I'm getting from it. It's called the Vessel of Hatred, and we also know there will be a brand new class with the release of this expansion.
We don't know what it is, though.
So leaks point towards a brand new class that's never been seen before called Spiritborn.
Okay.
What that would be, I guess, some sort of shaman. I guess
Witch Doctor.
I mean, yeah, because the most requested class for Diablo 4 has been the Paladin from D2.
Okay.
Which is like very like hammer based, like holy healing, that sort of stuff.
Heavy armor, holy magic.
Yeah. And the most requested for me, of course, is Witch Doctor. But it seems like we're getting a brand new class. We don't know too much about what the Spiritborn will be, but we'll have to wait and see when they announce more stuff about it. If it's related
to jungle stuff, like it is like based on like temple magic there, I think maybe not. When
I played as Druid in D4, it was heavily tied to like the spirits. Like you would go and collect these spirit offerings, and you would go to this temple in like this jungle area, and you would. It wasn't like a jungle, but it was like a forestry, like weird area. And you would basically give your offerings to these different spirits in order to get different boons, like passives. So I wonder if it will be like slightly tied into like the druid spirits, or if it's going to be its own spirits, like a lowers. Like trolls in Warcraft have these lower spirits. I don't really know what the witch doctors worship, other than just throwing spiders and frogs at people.
I guess technically spirits, like you could like have anything. Just like you could be like suns, like I guess druid is like forest spirit or nature spirits. I guess there's like other types of spirits, right?
Yeah, but we know people have, from what I've seen, people are happier with Season 2 of Diablo 4 than they have been with the base game. Like, gem as crafting materials is it should have been in the fucking game from the beginning. Being able to search your stash should have been in the game from the beginning. Renowned carrying over season from season. Who the fuck wants to grind Renowned every single season? I played the first season and I was just not impressed. But apparently season 2 is better. I hope this isn't Blizzard going, hey, we've fixed Diablo 4, let's release another expansion, get more people to buy that, and they'll just come back in droves. I mean, one of the, I can't remember if they were a dev or like a lead designer or whatever, but they were basically just saying they want to go back and redesign the core itemization of Diablo 4, which is probably, I would say, the biggest complaint from hardcore players is the itemization for Diablo 4 is not very good. It's like, at least from what I remember of playing, the initial release was crit and vulnerable was super broken. You kind of had to have it on all your pieces of gear. Then you wanted move speed and CDR on like your boots and stuff. And then there was just like Fortify was shit. There was no point. Like Crit Vom just scaled way better than Fortify. So there was just like there was stats that was like, yeah, you could take them, but there was no reason to. They were just straight up worse in like massively than every other stat, to a point where there was just not a reason to use them. And I think that's a fundamental game design flaw, when there is just stuff that you don't want to take. I don't know.
Does that include all of the there's like lots of like effects that could be consolidated into one? Is that kind of also included in that?
I don't think they need to consolidate stuff. I think they just need to make it more unique.
No, but I thought there was some of the effects were like highly, highly specific instead of like being a more generic.
Because I like
synergize better.
I had some Fortify on my Barbarian, and I was like looking into how Fortify works, and I was like, this is also never explained to you. I had to like read tooltips and go on wikis in order to figure out how Fortify like scaling works on your attacks when you have like, because the Fortify only triggers when you're above like your max health with Fortify and a lot of effects, and it's like, if you were a casual player, this is something you would never just randomly figure out. This is something we'd have to like read stuff, and even then it's not like great scaling. Because I think like fundamentally one of the funnest things in a game, and an ARPG or a game like Diablo, is going into a game and going, hey, this is an interesting ability, I'm going to make my own build. Like, some of the most fun I had was I made a shit barbarian called Steve, and I found an ability called Kick, and I was like, this is a kick build. I'm going to try and make Kick work. I want to go around kicking people. Yeah. And it was awful, but it was my build. It was a shit build, but it was my build, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to have the ability to make my own build, but not have it be awful without going, specifically down their set path for what you want to build,
Yeah. More open, but more options.
And then let's move on to, we had some WoW announcements. First up, okay. I thought they were, I was like, World of Warcraft Classic for Wrath of the Lich King. This was the peak of WoW in so many people's opinions, and Cataclysm was the end of like the classic era of World of Warcraft. And they're like, no, fuck it. We're doing classic Cataclysm. Like, did anyone want this? I haven't played any of the classic stuff, but
Going to the personal stage, everyone on social media was asking for this. So
I've played private servers of Vanilla and Wrath of the Lich King, and that was a great experience. But as somebody who played a lot of Cataclysm at launch, what I remember of Cataclysm was, I didn't like it. I mean, the PvP at the beginning was super imbalanced. I heard it got better. Like, I remember Shaman Warrior was busted in Arena in the first patch of Cataclysm, which really pissed me off. And because it was like a point, you were playing 2v2 Arena. If you weren't playing Shaman Warrior, you would just die. You just couldn't beat it. It was that imbalanced. There was some stuff I liked about Cataclysm. Like, I liked Tol Barad. I had a big guild in Cataclysm, because I got into a big guild like at the end of Wrath. We did like ICC, and then we were like, let's all play together for Cataclysm, and we would. Tol Barad was very interesting because it was like a PvP zone you fought over, and then the winner would get access to a raid, which was then that you fight the pit boss in the bottom of Tol Barad, which was like, that's a really cool way of mixing PvP and PvE, which I liked about Cataclysm. The leveling of Cataclysm felt absolutely fucking awful, because they were like, every expansion adds 10 levels. No. Let's add 5 levels, but make every level feel the same length as 2 levels. So let's just cut it in half. So going from like 80 to 81 was like an absolute slogfest. And a lot of the zones they added weren't great. Like, I kind of like Oldham, but it's kind of a zone you can only play once and then not again. People hated Vashtir. It's a completely underwater zone. Firelands was okay. Deep Home was like, okay. The Highlands was not great. Like, yeah, I don't know. Raids were okay. I mean, but wasn't there like was it End Soul was like the raid for like a really long time? Like, there was this big build up to fighting Deathwing, and then the fight was just you like fighting things on his back trying not to fall off his back for a lot of the raid. Like, I don't know. Cataclysm for me, I remember as the expansion where I quit World of Warcraft and said, fuck this game, I don't want to play it anymore. So the idea of going back and remastering, saying, hey, you get to relive this classic experience, for me personally, I go, who wanted this? But, yeah. I mean, probably there is some people who genuinely love Cataclysm. Like, you asked me about the cinematic, and you were like, oh, is this the original cinematic? I was like, no, this is not the original cinematic, because immediately you can tell like the orc models are different. Those are like the new orc models that they added later on.
Right.
I believe this is somebody who made their own like fan third-party Warcraft like filmmaker videos or like machinima videos.
Yeah.
And I think they've just been like officially hired on at Blizzard to make these videos for Blizzard for the classic team, which is quite cool that they've like hired a third-party guy from the community to make these videos. I think the video itself is pretty good. Like the WoW cinematics are always usually pretty good.
Yeah. Always high quality.
But yeah, I think it was smart announcing this at the same time as being like, hey, we're also doing WoW Classic Season of Discovery. So people for the longest time have looked at RuneScape 2007 and said, hey, what if you took the original game of WoW Classic but added more content from it from that era without going to the same pitfalls as, they did going to games like Cataclysm and Pandaria and Draenor and beyond, right?
Adding features people actually wanted.
And people have wanted this Classic Plus, add a new expansion to Classic WoW or Vanilla WoW. And what they've done here is done the Season of Discovery. So this feels like them dipping their toe into the idea of doing that. Like, hey, we'll do it as a season. But ultimately, if people don't like it, we can just reiterate it and release something else very quick. It feels more like a season like from Diablo, where they're like, let's just come up with a concept, see if people like it, and then do something else, and just keep reiterating on it until we get something people really vibe with. So we got this new rune engraving, which gives you new powers to unlock for your class, which looks really cool. Hidden secrets, new experiences to uncover. Progressive leveling, so you basically will progressively level up over time throughout the season, which I think is a really interesting way to do it. To be like, oh, this rune's really busted at this level, but then you get to that next progressive level, and it's like, oh, now this rune's really good or whatever, right? And making Black Phasm Deeps a 10-player raid is going to be interesting. They talked about it on the stage. We know basically because they basically let people at BlizzCon play it. I think SFan TV was streaming it, and we know all the runes that you're going to be able to have access to now. I believe the one that they mentioned on stage was, hey, do you want to be a Warlock tank? Was something they mentioned on stage with these new runes.
Yeah.
Which I believe would probably be them referencing Metamorphosis. So Metamorphosis was an ability that lets you transfer into a demon, which gives you a bunch of armor, and they've basically made it so a lot of your abilities are now like melee abilities, and you basically generate a bunch of threat. So I'm guessing this Metamorphosis rune was what they were referring to when they were talking about Warlock tanking. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this changes up the meta of Classic, because I think we have been kind of stagnant on warriors are the default tanks, and the big DPS guys are like your mages, your rogues, your warlocks, But yeah, it'd be interesting to see like how this shifts up to the PvE meta and as well the PvP meta. I'd be interested to see again, Classic WoW has no arena like they added in Burning Crusade, but world PvP and stuff like Gurubashi Arena in the Stranglethorn Vale It's like a big world PvP area, and it's going to be really interesting to see because the WoW Classic team is fucking killing it. They are one of the teams at Blizzard that is doing genuinely a really good job. And WoW Classic Hardcore is insanely popular. I don't know if you know, Tony, but WoW Classic Hardcore is one of the most popular things on Twitch, and it has been for like months now. It is super popular.
It kind of makes sense though.
Yeah, people love WoW Classic Hardcore. Like, it's to a point where I'm looking at WoW Classic Hardcore and I'm like, I'm kind of fiending to play this. Like, I didn't initially have interest in WoW Classic because fundamentally for me, I'm like, I have some interest in WoW Classic, Wrath of the Lich King, but I haven't played it because I really don't like sub fees. I'm really just the idea that I could pay like £10 a month to play World of Warcraft, or I could pay £10 a month to play every single game on Games Pass, just feels like such a slap in the face in terms of value.
And you feel like you're forced to play because you don't want to waste it. It's like, it's just
sunken cost fallacy.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be.
I don't like it.
I don't know if they ever would, but if they added the WoW sub to Games Pass, it would be a no-brainer for me. I would play WoW again. Like, I would be interested to play Classic, definitely, and I would be interested to try out Retail, because I like playing the Retail expansions. It's just usually I go in, I play for a month, and then I unsub. It's usually what I did in the past, because there just wasn't anything keeping me there. Once I'd gone in, I'd experienced the story, I've done some of the in-game stuff, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and play something else. That's what I did for I loved Legion. I thought that was one of their best modern expansions. But, I played that for a few months and I was like, okay, I'll go off and play something else. I think BFA I gave a month and I was like, this game kind of sucks. BFA is when I was like, okay, I think I'm done with WoW for a bit.
What?
I didn't play Shadowlands and I haven't played Dragonfall. Dragonflight, I think it's called. Dragonflight?
Oh, okay.
Because I was like,
what is BF?
A Battle for Azeroth.
Okay, right.
So there's kind of a trend with WoW expansions where every other expansion is the Alliance and the Horde are at war with each other and have to kill each other. And then the next expansion is them coming together to destroy some insanely powerful evil entity. And then the next expansion is them going back to being at war with each other. And
very interesting.
Off the top of my head, let's see. Vanilla, you're against each other. Burning Crusade. I don't know if you maybe you come together. Wrath, you fight against each other, you come together. Cataclysm, you're apart. Is Cataclysm? No, Cataclysm, you come together. You're fighting over Tol Barad. Mr. Pandaria, you're definitely apart because you definitely go to war with each other in Mr. Pandaria. And then Legion, you come back. Draenor, you're together. Legion, you come back together. Battle for Azeroth, you go apart. There is this shift. It's not consistently back, but it is very often that you go from being together to being apart.
It sounds like the more classic stuff was more nuanced.
But yeah, if you want to check out all the runes that have been added, they're up on Wowhead, which is always the best news source for all World of Warcraft related stuff. And I think Season of Mastery looks so awesome. It makes me kind of want to go and play WoW Classic. But again, I don't want to pay a sub fee to try this stuff out, I'll see what those fellas over at Microsoft have got, cooking up. Then we had the next 3 WoW expansions were announced for Retail WoW, which I was like, so they've got
a year apart from each other.
So they have Chris Metzen is back. He came back as an advisor. So he left Blizzard. He went off and he did I think he did mostly board game stuff. He went and he made a couple of Kickstarter board game stuff, and then they brought him back as an advisor, and he's now a full-on director or co-director for the new Retail WoW expansions. And we got a trailer because Chris Metzen is the voice of Thrall, and we seen the new WoW expansion was shown first was the War Within, which adds the new
giant sword
Earthen allied race. Do we know anything about these guys? Usually with allied races, they'll do one for the Alliance and one for the Horde. But I haven't been keeping up with them all. There could be a bunch I just don't know about. And I know like pandas you could play as either side. They were one of the first like neutral factions.
Is that guy who's playing the true neutral panda still going?
Oh yeah, the guy that was leveling up by just picking herbs on the Double Agent was his name, because he chose no faction. Let's have a look. He is a level 70 Pandaren enhancement shop. So they did a level squish at some point. So look. Apparently 10 months ago, in Dragonflight, he reached the max level again on the Wandering Isles. So he's done it again, Tony. He has reached max level without choosing a faction, yeah. Apparently they in Hearthstone, they made a Hearthstone card that is a panda called Double Agent. So they've made like a tribute to him in Hearthstone.
That's cool.
And I'll show you. I'll send you the image. It's a panda with a Horde banner with an Alliance banner underneath. He's a true. I guess.
Oh, is that what that is?
I guess in this he's a Alliance panda pretending to be a Horde banner as a Double Agent, but that's not taking the true spirit of neutrality that the panda from the Double Agent is. Yeah, I think shit like that's hilarious. I love stories like that about MMOs. Like, hey, I'm playing a neutral class and I have to pick a faction. What if I tried to get to max level without picking a faction? What would happen?
Yeah. It's a cool challenge, yeah.
But Chris Metzen came back on stage and he was like, hey, we're going to do this thing called the World Soul Saga, where we want to basically go back to the idea of classic WoW stories and try and bring them back and have this idea of like 3 different WoW expansions. So we have the War Within, Midnight, and the Last Titan, which I've never really been into the Titan lore of World of Warcraft, where they're essentially, for the longest time, like in, I think it was Legion or BFA, they dropped a giant Titan sword into, was it Tanaris or somewhere around there? And then they just completely forgot about it. Everybody on social media was like, did they just forget about the giant sword that they dropped into Azeroth? But apparently they haven't forgot about it, so that will be coming back into the story. But yeah, the Titans have been in the story of World of Warcraft back to like Vanilla, back to like Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm. Like Titans are always a part of like WoW lore, but for me, it's just not something I've ever been interested in at all. I would like to just... Personally, I would like to just go back to, like resetting WoW's lore, almost like WoW 2.0. Just be like, hey, we've power creeped to a point where we're killing like literal universe creating gods, and we've gone to the afterlife and we've resurrected character. Can we just go back to being simple?
Clean it.
Hey.
Yeah. Wait, what? Are you asking for a World of Hearthstone?
Yeah, World of Hearthstone. There it is. But yeah, I thought the cinematic was good again for the War Within, but again,
all right. I thought it was a little bit. A lot of time was just them being emotional. Yeah. I don't think there was much interest other than that. Like, I guess it's like 2 important characters.
I think the idea is that it was meant to tug on old players' heartstrings, but like Chris Metzen's back, Thrall is back. Guys, Blizzard has changed somehow.
I don't know. I just thought there'd be like more concepts.
I think they're trying to. They want people to think about Blizzard in the old ways again, but just right now, I still think of modern Blizzard as a shit show, and they still are a shit show.
Like they haven't proved themselves yet.
Yeah, they're gonna have to drop a couple of good games and prove that they fundamentally changed the development studio under Microsoft. So we'll have to wait and see. And then our final announcement, Tony, is something I'm personally very interested in: Hearthstone Battlegrounds. So I didn't care about the new Hearthstone expansion because I don't play constructed Hearthstone, but they announced a brand new mode for Battlegrounds, which is the only mode I play in Hearthstone, which is a auto battler like TFT style, like auto chess game mode. And speaking of TFT launched a duos mode. I think it was last year or something like that, where that was really fun. But basically, you essentially were able to like trade items to your teammate, and basically added a way to work together between two players in order to play this mode like co-op. And it seems like Hearthstone Battlegrounds is doing a similar thing to that, where you will both share a life total, but you can pass each other cards and team up to take on your opponents. And it seems like you'll be able to basically pass cards to your opponent through this portal by spending 1 gold. So there will be a cost to sending cards to your opponent, but you can basically go, oh, this card's really good for you, and you can basically trade it over. And the way they're doing this is there'll be a button that will let you switch between your view of the board and your teammate's view of his board. And there's going to be a pinging system where you'll be able to ping certain cards, say, hey, do you want this card? Do you want this card? It's like, or I don't think you should pick up this card, or stuff like that. Like, I think this is a really cool system, and yeah, really awesome to see. So I haven't seen any gameplay for it. I think they're doing it today, about 9:30. So they're letting some of the Battleground streamers stream some of this early, which is cool to see. Was it today? It was yesterday they did. I'm gonna have to check the VODs then for some of the people. I love how they post it immediately. People are like, I can't wait to see Super JJ and RDU playing this game mode on Twitch, because Super JJ and RDU are two of the biggest Battleground streamers on Twitch, and RDU is like a pretty calm, cool, collected guy, and Super JJ is this massive German rager who is constantly swearing and just goes into. He has a tag on his stream called Occasional German, where he'll just start raging in German and swearing. And they're also very good friends, so it would be very cool to see them playing this game mode. So it seems like they've also made cards specifically for this game mode. So you see like Sandy here, which seems like a sand version of Chromie, that essentially transforms into a copy of your teammate's highest health minion. Or at the end of your turn, give a minion in your teammate's Warband Divine Shield. That's what I think that says. So it seems like they're going to add cards specifically for duo modes as well, which is really cool to see. But yeah, I think Battlegrounds is another part of Blizzard where I think they've been doing a really good job with supporting it. So interested to see. And I'm going to have to try and find somebody to play Battleground duos with me. I think I may have convinced Hearthstone Andy to come back, as in...
It didn't take much convincing. You just had to say.
Yeah.
Well, he initially turned you down as like, but co-op.
Yeah, it's co-op, and you're like, oh, okay, fine. Well, okay. So he used to be Hearthstone Andy because he used to pre-order every single expansion for Hearthstone Constructed. He would pre-order £50 worth of card packs, and then he looked at. Then there's this thing on Battle.net that shows you how much money you've spent on the games, and he was like, "Oh, I've spent like thousands of pounds on Hearthstone. I'm going to quit playing this game forever."
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to get him back because I'm like, you don't have to spend any money on duos. You don't have to spend any money on Battlegrounds. It is the most free-to-play friendly game. There is no pay to win. It is completely cosmetic in terms of buying things, other than
it's like a self-contained deck building experience.
That is the end. As I said to Tony, it's a short one with not much news, but we've managed to turn it into a 2-hour podcast.
Well, I was talking about Cities Skylines for 22 minutes, I think. 20?
Let's move on to our Petermology tweet. And Tony, there's a big Petermology tweet. Exciting day. 22 Cans pay-to-earn game Legacy has been released. If you are an NFT enthusiast, you can now download Legacy, Peter's new game, where you make NFT shit that's guns on skateboards or whatever. I don't know.
Well, that bit sounds cool. The bit of having to like rent out or like buy an area, like that sounds bad. I'm not about that.
I don't know. It is interesting to see Peter actually tweeting things and making dev blogs about stuff, but again, I don't know about this whole like. I don't like this NFT pay to earn bullshit at all. So for me, I'm not going to be checking this out, but it's there. Peter's making another weird fucking game.
Yeah, to me this seems like maybe like on par with like adding gambling to games.
Didn't they say they wanted to go back and fix up Goddess? Or was it Goddess or Goddess Wars? They want to fix.
They said something about but why now? like after they've done, I don't know.
I don't know.
He was talking about like Populous and Goddess, so like he was talking about God games in general. So
I mean, he's speaking to the. I mean, in that 2015 interview where he said it's over, I will never speak to the press again. He is back. He's talking to the press again. So it's been a 7-8 year hiatus.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A lot can change in 7 years.
I'll be waiting to see what Peter Molyneux's next game is, because this looks like something I am not interested in.
Yeah, it's a shame it wasn't just a normal game. I think this could have actually been interesting if it was just a bog standard game.
You can check us out, youtube.com at Everything In Between Podcast if you want to watch the YouTube VODs, twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, at Scorn2000 on Twitter if you want to follow me there, and shows.ocast.com/everything-in-between-podcast if you want to listen to the audio version. There will be a Spotify and Apple podcast link on there, so you can listen to the audio version on your platform of choice. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.